do you want to ever take a vacation? And if you do, then this is the way to do it, because whoever you put in charge, they're going to do it the same way that you do it, because it's in the handbook to do it this way. And then you can leave with some amount of confidence. Now, you may still have a company policy manual in place, and something crazy happens that you haven't thought of.
Oh, right. I mean,
but for the vast majority of the things that the day-to-day operation, that's where this should be in place, right? For these things that are just, again, you have your client processes, you have your employee processes, and then the last thing that you'll say on operational efficiency is like, maybe it's not a vacation. Maybe you got into an accident, and you're in the hospital, and like there's no calling you up and trying to figure out how we do this, right? Like, who's gonna pay the electric bill? Who's gonna pay your practice management software? So having this is part of that manual is your continuity of operation policy, and so listing out all of those resources that if you're out for a certain amount of time, that these things can still be paid for. Your employees are still going to get paid, right?
But everyone listening here, everyone's a superhero and they're invincible, and it's not going to happen to them. Totally. They're good.
Yeah. So I mean, these are just things that I don't know. It's similar to like having a will, which we don't have, honestly. But like,
we're working on it.
We're working on it. We've been working on it. We've been working on it for years. But but that's the thing, right? Like, so we're invincible. Nothing bad's gonna happen to us, right? And then it does. It happens. And now you're here, and your staff aren't being taken care of the way that you want them to be, and your clients aren't being taken care of the way that you want them to be. So these things will help with that, right? And so the idea, I assume, for most of the people listening here, is that you're not going to be working 60, 70, 80 hours a week every week for the rest of your life. You want to be able to have a regular work week. Oh man, I only worked 35 hours this week. Like that would be the idea. And so you're not going to do that unless you have this in place. You're going to be constantly dealing with the same stuff over and over again. So,
well, I mean, even just for like if you think about it from a clinical perspective, it's might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's kind of like a treatment plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, if you tie in KPIs with it, then it's definitely like a treatment plan, because you're taking data on it and all that stuff, right? And monitoring the progress. Yeah. But this is like the program description, like what's expected, what materials do you need? What's expected? What's the intention? Why are you doing this? And then that way, it also like decreases like drift, right? Because if you check back in with it on a regular basis, right? And tying these into your like quarterly like values and mission statement checks, right? Maybe take, split up the policies and do a few each time, right? So you're not doing all the policies and all the everything every 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. Then you can just like check in and say, okay, we're not doing it this way anymore. We need to update it. Right. Or, you know what? Like, this is like not even applicable to us at all. Why is it in here? Right. Does it have to be in here? And then maybe take it out, right? Because if there's just stuff that's in there and you don't know why it's in there, like if it's like not a state regulation or not a funder regulation, maybe it's just something that was one of our customers said, oh, why don't we put this in? And then we added it to the handbook and, sent it out to everybody. But you don't need that. Take it out, right?
Talk to an attorney.
Well, I mean, there may be reasons why I said that's why I said state regulation or payer or reach out. Feel free to reach out to us too, right, and get some feedback. Yeah. But the basic thing is like you want it to be like you want it to have meaning, right? Yes. And then like I think I said I know, like I tried I've tried to do this practice for like employee handbooks and sometimes for client handbooks, but referring back to them when people had questions. A lot of times I was pretty guilty of just answering the question. Unless it was like the same question that was over and over again, then I'm like, hey, why don't you look at page 12 of the handbook or whatever. So that same type of thing might apply here. And now I have Steven yawning too. Instead of him giving me all of his energy and positive excitement over company policy manuals, I have now brought him down to the sleepy, yawny stage. But let's see what else. I guess looking at documentation control.
Well, yeah, I just
when we kind of you have something else about operational efficiency,
well, I mean,
or just in general.
Yeah, I mean, what you were saying, like make them your own and that kind of stuff, right? And take them out if it's not working. But like these are living documents, and so like this is another thing that I hear often, and it's not ABA company related. It's just like this is general. Like I've seen this so many times in the engineering field, like. You spend all this time getting these things up and ready, and now, okay, we have all these policies and procedures, and we call them work instructions for like certain step-by-step instructions. I think you guys call them what? Task analysis, is that right? Mm-hmm. Anyways, so you got all this stuff going, and then you're like, finally, now I can close the book and I can put it up on the shelf, and it's all done, right? It'll never need to be done again. That's not how this works. So like these are living documents. So you grow and change, your policies and procedures are going to grow and change. Regulations change. Maybe you need to add more to your session notes. Then your policies and procedures are going to change because of that. So yeah, like this is just an ongoing thing. And we like, again, I've seen this very quite often when you do internal audits. You just see that it's not even so much drift. It's our requirements and our methods have improved, but our policies and procedures have not kept up with that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we're actually providing better services now, but our old policies have not kept up. Yeah. So
it could go either way. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
So this is just something that you're going to have to do on an ongoing basis. And things like HIPAA, this is actually a requirement. So doing a risk assessment or a risk analysis, whatever you want to call it, every year is something that is you need to do. So, and then this would say, okay, have our policies and procedures changed? Like a common thing that happens on the HIPAA side, which this is not HIPAA, but I just wanted to make you aware of it, is that, we did this. So we had one app for messaging staff. We had another app for emails. We had one for cloud storage stuff. And we had a different one for documents. And it was just a bunch of chaos, right? And especially if you had to let someone go or someone left, it's like, what apps do we have to shut down again, right? And it took a lot of time. And anyway, so then we moved to Microsoft 365, which was way better, right? More secure. It had all in the same place. It was much easier process. Everybody, there was one place for all the documents, and it was much better, right? Hands down, like so much better. But we still had to do that risk assessment and change our policies, our data backup policy, all of these things had to be changed to meet the new standard that we had put in place. So it was just, as things change and shift and grow and you change practice management software, whatever it is, you're going to have to modify and update those handbooks.